Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. I wager that I am the oldest person in this room. And thus I feel I can tell all of you youngins about some of the great adventures that will come to you when you reach my august state. I come from a culture that values age, venerates age. Traditionally, we have respected our elders and valued their wisdom. That's the upside of the culture. The downside of the culture is that we considered women less valuable, less worthy than men. My mother told me when I was born that she cried out of disappointment that I was not a son. What a thing to tell a child. But for Mother, that was not personal, it was cultural. Many Chinese women cried when they gave birth to a daughter. So as a child, I was quiet, I was obedient, and I was told I never cried because I didn't want to make her unhappy. So I didn't make noise, and I didn't speak much. I had to find other ways to express myself. I'm an author, and I'm an artist, and a recently published author. This is my book, The Woman Radical, How the Chinese Language Defines Women. This is my painting. It's a big mural. This is the introduction to the book. This is a short cultural history, and this is the encyclopedic dictionary of all the words of the woman radical and my calligraphy. I will tell you about the woman radical and the Chinese language at a later date. Although this book tells about how unfair the Chinese language is to women, it's not an angry book. It's healing. Well, I don't want you at this point to think that I'm an unhappy woman. On the contrary, I've had a few adventures. I moved to New York City after graduating from UC Berkeley. And in those days, it was the late 50s, so I went, my sister and a friend accompanied me. We three young women went to New York via Greyhound bus that, across this vast USA. Can you imagine how grimy you could feel for days on a Greyhound bus?
Okay.
Fortunately, there were rest stops. There was a Greyhound bus in Omaha, Nebraska. It was beautiful. It was clean. The ladies' restroom was clean. There were showers. There were clean cots. There were clean sheets that you could take a restorative nap. Well, when I got back on the bus, I sat next to a cowboy that liked to sing. He strummed his guitar, and we sang all night, crossing the plains of the Midwest. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever, dreadful sorry Clementine.
Well, there's some words that stuck.
What fun, what a night. Another memorable experience I had was crossing the Pacific Ocean on a small freighter to meet the family of my future husband in Taiwan. I didn't have much money in those days, so I had to go the cheapest way I could, and that was why I went on the freighter. Unfortunately, the price of that was I was seasick all the way. I remember reaching Nagoya, Japan, and taking public transportation. And I got on a bus, and it was so little. It was like riding a little kindergarten bus. In those days, it was not too long after World War II, so the Japanese people were smaller. Eventually, I settled down, had a family, and had a quiet life, painting and teaching art. Then in 1990, right after the Tiananmen Square incident, I took a job with Project Hope and I went to work a year in China. Our major means of transportation was the bicycle. Now, I know all of you know how to ride a bicycle, but have you ever ridden a bicycle amid thousands of bikers and pedestrians? I was so nervous because I hadn't ridden since I was a child. There were bikes and cars and trucks and everything all over the street. And I remember seeing this delivery boy balancing this pole with two open buckets of paint. He's balancing this pole by cycling amid us. Then there were children. They were about 2 years old. On the back, on a little bamboo basket, sitting on the back wheel of the parents' bike. They were just sitting there, like this, holding on to this little rail. No seatbelt. I mean, I was just amazed. Well, of course, all of these bikers knew the rules of their traffic. Unfortunately, I didn't. So I remember the face of this man as I rode into him because I panicked and I couldn't stop. Well, the funny thing is, after our collision, he just pedaled off, and I fell off my bike. Well, I would like to conclude this talk by reading some excerpts from my granddaughter's 10-year-old granddaughter's essay. 2 months ago, she won first place in the Portland City essay contest on a topic titled "An Important Older Person in My Life." She called me and I dusted off my broom and I flew to her right away and attended her award ceremony at the downtown Hilton. The topic of her essay was my popo, which means grandmother in Chinese. My popo is crazy. She is definitely like no other 70-year-old grandma I know. She's so fit, she does cartwheels with me. One time, my popo, my parents, and I went on a sightseeing boat ride in the Caribbean. The boat driver was wondering if anyone wanted to jump off the boat. Of course, my popo said yes, even though it was raining. I remember watching from a foggy window, my popo jumping into the cold, clear water. My popo is very energetic. She loves to go outside and just walk around. She's always up for everything. Unlike other 70-year-olds I know, my popo climbs mountains, rides a bike, and sometimes even a camel. My popo is cool. She wears my clothes like no other grandma would. She has salt and pepper hair and eyes the color of cinnamon. She weighs as much as a feather. She's so light I can pick her up. Well, there was more, but this is just a little taste of what is in store for you, what your grandchildren might be giving you. At this time, I'd like to say that I'm really happy to be here at Toastmasters. I am learning how to sell and promote myself, my book, and my art. In addition, I'm gaining the confidence to teach self-healing and the wisdom of Eastern spiritual masters. Also at this time in my life, I've embarked on a new career, a new adventure. In it, it is something that I have never been comfortable doing in my life, and that is standing up, opening my mouth, and speaking. I thank you all, and I wish you all the blessings of great adventures, doting grandchildren, and happiness and fun. Thank you, thank you.